Hello there, and thanks for your patience. Welcome to tonight's live stream. My name is Tyler Hakes. I am the principal and strategy director at the content marketing agency called Optimist. I'm super excited to have today's guest. We have Tim Soulo, the CMO from Ahrefs. So for our content marketing and SEO folks on the stream, Ahrefs is one of the premier tools. And so I'm excited to learn from Tim, A, because I'm a big fan of the product, and B, I think their content marketing strategy is sort of next level in the space that we're in. So if you're looking on information about how to do anything related to keyword research or link analysis or rank tracking, you've probably read content created by the Ahrefs team. And their product-led content marketing strategy has propelled their growth over the last few years. And I know that they've gotten to the point where they're generating over $50 million in ARR as of 2020. And so today we're going to learn from Tim. We're going to learn a little bit about the process behind the scenes, how they think about content marketing, how they approach it, and what's worked for them. Before I bring Tim on, I just want to do my quick pitch. So I've got 3 asks. First of all, if you haven't already, please hit like on this video to help other people find it. Secondly, please subscribe to our YouTube channel here. We host live sessions, Q&As, workshops, all kinds of great content for marketers, content folks, SEO people about every 2 weeks. So definitely subscribe. Join us for our future sessions. We'd love to have you. And third, but certainly not least, if you have not already become a member of our free community, it's called Top of the Funnel. It's a free Slack community. You can join by visiting this URL, yesoptimist.com/tofu, TOFU. It's a free Slack community. There's all kinds of content marketing, SEO, and marketing folks in there, in-house people, agencies, freelancers. So if you're looking for work, you're trying to find your next client, or you have questions, or you want to network, exchange link building ideas, whatever it is, would love to have you join our community. We've got over 1,200 marketers in there. So please join us in Top of the Funnel. Awesome. Well, always got to get my pitches out of the way. But with all that said, again, I'm going to swing back here to our guest today, Tim from Ahrefs. We're going to talk content marketing strategy. So let me go ahead and bring on Tim. Hey Tim, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Oh, thanks so much for joining us, man. I'm super stoked to learn from you and everything that you guys have built over the last few years.
Okay, let's do it.
Awesome. So as I mentioned in the intro, I'm a big fan of Ahrefs. I've been using the product for years, and I always reference you guys and your content specifically as examples for our team and for other people, and just to sort of show them what I think is really great content marketing that really checks all the boxes in terms of educating, but also promoting or marketing and selling the product. When we set up today's stream, I set it up to discuss this idea of product-led content marketing. So I'm just curious, like inside of Ahrefs, do you use that term product-led content marketing, or is there a term that you use to describe kind of your overall approach?
No, we don't use product-led content marketing. We just say content marketing or content. Somehow we kind of intrinsically understand that we should mention our product within our content, because otherwise, like, what's the business value of creating content?
100%. Yeah, I think that's. I was actually, as I was preparing for this call, I was thinking that's sort of a funny thing, because I think it might seem obvious to some people. Of course, content marketing is product led; it comes from the product. But I do think that's a mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to content marketing. Right? Is they either sort of follow the keywords blindly, or they come at it from a different angle where they're not necessarily thinking about the product, or they're too scared to sell their product or their service in the content, and so they sort of struggle to really generate the results that a company like Ahrefs is able to see.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of people are making this mistake for sure. I cannot explain this. I don't know like what makes them do this.
Well, when you all are planning content, the Ahrefs team, what is the process that you have to sort of make sure that every piece of content really ties back to the product and the functionality?
This is keyword research. We do keyword research, and other than looking at the metrics, like how many times people search for this keyword Google per month, we go deeper to how much traffic the top ranking page might get, because search volume for a single keyword is one thing, but then pages don't rank for a single keyword. They rank for all the variations as well. So if you want to accurately kind of estimate what kind of traffic you can get, you need to look at the total search traffic of the pages rather than search volume of an individual keyword. Then we obviously gauge the keyword difficulty, like how hard it would be, like what are the odds that we're even going to rank and get any sort of traffic for it. So it's not necessarily that you have to rank number one. You can rank number five, and it would still bring you a little bit of traffic, which would provide value to your business. And finally, if we know the keyword, if we think that our page would be capable of ranking somewhere high enough to get search traffic, uh, and then we think of how is that topic, how does the topic tie to what we do, to our tools and services. Can we show people how to solve their problem with the help of our product and data? Or maybe we can advertise some of our educational materials and help them go further down the funnel. So yeah, and for that we have another metric, kind of internal one. It is called business score or business potential, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we grade our content ideas on a score from 0 to 3, where 0 means that there's absolutely no way to mention anything related to our product, and 3 means that our product is an absolutely irreplaceable solution for solving someone's problem. For example, if you want to do backlink search and if you want to figure out who is linking to your competitors, there's no way to do it if you're not using Ahrefs or a bunch of similar tools. So our product is an irreplaceable solution. Without a backlink tool, you cannot do this. So the business potential of this kind of topic is 3 on our scale. While, for example, if we're talking about I don't know, outreach, email outreach, you need Ahrefs, but you also need some other tools, and you can do manually, so etc. So our product is not necessarily an irreplaceable solution. So the business potential of this kind of topic would be a little lower. And then we basically select topics based on their traffic, their ranking difficulty, and their business potential.
Mm-hmm. That's super smart. Yeah, I think that's maybe a missing link for a lot of folks is sort of viewing it from that lens, right? I mean, obviously, Ahrefs provides data around the volume and the difficulty, and that's how a lot of people sort of evaluate keywords. But also having this third component, which is the business value, I think is again a missing link for a lot of people as they're evaluating keywords.
Absolutely.
Do you so just go back to that process. So do you always sort of start with the keyword and then sort of map it to the business, or do you sort of work the other way and never sort of start with the content and then identify keywords?
Start with the content and identify keyword? No, I don't even understand how that might work. But yeah, we actually create a pretty big list of topics that we want to target by researching our competitors, by doing keyword research. So we have an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets spreadsheet with hundreds of keyword ideas, which we now and then add some ideas to. So it's growing over time while we discover some interesting things to talk about. And then for each topic, we pull the data, we pull the search volume, we pull the traffic potential, we estimate the keyword difficulty, and finally we add kind of manually. So it's an estimation, because we don't have the content yet. So we can only predict, okay, so if I write about this topic, I might mention this feature of Ahrefs or this feature of Ahrefs, and it would be more or less exciting and useful for the person reading the topic. So we kind of estimate, okay, I think I can make this topic highly closely tied to our business. or this topic doesn't seem like something where we can pitch Ahrefs well enough. So we put grades from 0 to 3 on all the topics. And then whenever one of our content marketers needs to start working on the next piece of content, they just open the spreadsheet and they themselves select the topic that they want to write about. Because another important metric for content marketing is actually two metrics. First of all, how excited are you to write something about this topic? Because if you're not in any way interested in a topic that is being given to you by your manager and whatnot, the content will be mediocre. And the second, how much knowledge and experience you have with this topic already. So these two quote unquote metrics are the reason why we let our content marketers select the topics that they want to write about rather than kind of impose those topics on them. So they go through the spreadsheet, they select ideas where they think they can provide a lot of value and which they're interested to research and work on. And then they pitch those topics to Joshua, our head of content, and he selects which one of the topics that they want to write about would be the best for the next article. So that's more or less our process.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, I think yeah, that is another thing that maybe a lot of people had not thought about is, you know, how do they best match the individual writers or the people who are working on the content with the specific topics. That's super cool. How do you think about, so I know I listened to a previous interview that you did, and you talked about how you think of every article as essentially a sales page for Ahrefs. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, and it again ties back to assigning the business potential, because like why do you create content if you run a business and you need to make sales, you need to make profit, you want to get customers. So content marketing, essentially, people like business owners, they start investing their time and efforts into content marketing in order to get customers, in order to get sales. So what is the point of an article that doesn't talk about your business, about what you do, and doesn't try to kind of show your product, your service, your software in a positive light and explain people what kind of value it provides? That is why we think of every article on our blog essentially as a sales page, because the reason why we create content is because we want to promote our business. Yeah, of course, at some point, the business can get large enough where you think of such things as branding, where you want to create a customer loyalty and a likable brand that is known for educating people, that is known for providing lots of value. In that case, you might start creating content just for the sake of connecting with people, because but mostly it should happen when you're out of topics that tie to your business super closely, when you covered all these ones and your marketing team is big, you have lots of people, and you need to assign them something. You can start doing like those top of the funnel kind of stuff. But until then, I see no reason to cover top of the funnel topics, as long as you still have topics that tie directly to your business and where you can convert your customers.
Yeah, that's a super helpful way to think about it. And I think we could all probably name some companies that have existed that have done a really great job of generating eyeballs to their content, but maybe not a great job of converting that traffic into actual business. And we've sort of seen the consequences in some cases.
I think another interesting thing that a lot of people don't understand when they look at those big companies that create kind of generic content on every conceivable topic that is somehow even remotely relevant to what their content does, is that those companies often have large sales teams. So if they cover some top of the funnel content and they have some PDF download offer on it, so if 0.001% of people who land on this article will get interested in that PDF download, which is more relevant to the business that is creating this content, then the sales team will follow up with them and say, oh, let's jump on a call, let's talk about this and that. So they have means to convert those people. While if we're talking about smaller bootstrap businesses who don't have a sales team that you have to feed with leads all the time, you have to focus on content that would convert by itself without salespeople necessarily having to hop on a call with your prospective customers.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to kind of the original topic here of product-led content marketing or product-led growth, and we think about, how do we move someone through the funnel, ideally in like a single piece of content, right? Or we can sort of educate them, teach them about the product, and then sort of sell them on actually signing up and trying it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So here's a question for you. Is there such thing as content that's sort of too promotional or too salesy?
I don't think so. So I like this phrase. I don't remember where I first heard it. I've heard it from many places so far. And it says that if you genuinely believe that the service or the product that you provide has tons of value to people, you're doing them a disservice by not trying to sell it to them and persuade them that it will solve their problem. So I feel absolutely confident and they feel good about themselves when I pitch Ahrefs to people and they kind of push them to buy it, because I know for sure that Ahrefs has a lot of value for anyone who is interested in improving their rankings in Google and their SEO strategy. So I think that if I won't sell them Ahrefs, they might start using some other subpar tool, or maybe they won't start using any tool at all, and they would struggle with their SEO. This is why I don't have any moral quandaries in terms of trying to sell our product to people.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I mean, I was going to ask what advice you would give to someone who's maybe trying to convince their boss, how to make their content more promotional or more salesy. But I think that's a perfect way to phrase it is, hey, if we're not selling it, then, we're doing a disservice to the people that we're trying to serve. I think that's a great way to frame
Oh my God, I think it usually works the other way around. The boss wants to make the content more salesy and marketers might push back. So actually, if your boss is hesitant about making content more salesy, you have to change your boss.
There you go. Well, and for the content marketers who maybe who maybe are hesitant, there you go. There's another way to think about it. And the thing that I love too about the content that you guys create is, obviously there's a sales pitch in the content, but it's not, it's generally not it's not the first paragraph, right? Like you meet the reader where they're at and you sort of educate and inform them to the point where it would make sense to make a sales pitch. And I think that's a thing that you guys do really well. Do you have any specific like process or checklist internally for how you sort of balance that or make sure that you're meeting the reader where they're at?
So just to make sure we're not misleading any of the people watching or listening to this, like we don't have sales pitch in our content in its conventional sense. So we don't have a button like you can subscribe to Ahrefs right now, you can take a trial for $7. Nowhere in our articles we actually say please sign up for Ahrefs or like please try it or anything like that. There is no call to action at all. The sales pitch is contextual. So a person is searching in Google for whatever problem they have. For example, they want to learn how to audit their website for common SEO issues. And we have an article about that is listing the common SEO issues, that is telling people about the importance. So for example, you want to fix this because it is crucial for Google crawling your website and getting access to the information on your pages. But for example, those kinds of issues are not critical because Google can still crawl your site and rank it. And while we explain how to audit your website to improve its crawlability and improve Google's way of crawling it and rank it, we weave the use cases of our tool. We show that within our tool, you can quickly crawl your website. You can filter your pages by this parameter. You get the recommendations of how to get this. So there is no direct sales pitch. We're not saying people go and try our tool right now. We're just showing our product in the context of the question that they had when they landed on our page. So this is very important because like most of our content is optimized to rank in Google. The traffic that is coming to this content is very contextual. So people searched for a problem and they landed on our article that has the solution. So we don't necessarily need to sell in a direct way. We just need to explain them we just need to explain them their problem, how to solve it, and show how to solve it with Ahrefs. The call to action is kind of exists there by default. So they already want to solve their problem, and we're showing them Ahrefs. Of course, the next step, if you keep reading the article, why would you keep reading if you already see screenshots of Ahrefs and how to use it? So if you're not motivated to use some kind of tool to solve your problem, you would close and try to find some other article that would try to give you some DIY way to solve your problem.
Right. Yeah. That's a great clarification. Yeah. And so just to, I think that's another way that people approach it, maybe a mistake that a lot of people make is that they'll sort of stick with the informational part without the kind of execution or the tactical implementation, and they'll try to like just throw a call to action in there and hope that it converts readers rather than actually showing them here's how our product works and how you can literally solve this problem kind of step by step in the product.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful, and I think that's a great reminder just to everyone to about sort of how there is a balance here where you are ultimately serving the reader. Again, you're not doing a disservice to your reader necessarily by showing your product and showing them how it can make their lives better. Like that's the whole the whole game here, really. Cool. I want to pivot a little bit. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit more about the content itself. Another big component here, of course, is link building, and I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with many facets of. So first of all, I'm just curious, like how important is manual link building and outreach for Ahrefs at this stage?
At this stage, it's not very important because we get our best links naturally. So we have a large enough audience, and what's very important is that we have budget to promote our content. So basically, manual link building, if we're talking about the white hat one, it's basically reaching out to relevant people, showing them your article, and asking for a link without offering nothing in return other than the awesomeness of your article. And I recently wrote an article on Ahrefs blog where we tried doing this for one of our guides, a guide about keyword research. And what we figured out is that a lot of people want something in return. So they don't want to link to you unless you provide something in return, whether that is a link back or money or anything like this. And those people who are eager to link to you, they mostly do it not because your content is awesome. This is still important because no one wants to link to shitty pages. But they link to you because they already know you and respect you. So they feel good about doing you a favor. But if you are this is because Ahrefs is at this point a pretty decent brand and well known and trusted. But if you are a new company, if you're just starting out and you're creating content, and you try reaching out to people and tell them, hey, look at my awesome article about this topic, can you give me a link? At best, people won't reply. At worst, they will say that you suck or something. I don't know. So yeah, people are not motivated. Why would people link to you? They don't know you, that they don't follow you, and then you up in their inbox and ask for a link. This is not how you get links, unless of course you want to pay for them, which can get you in trouble with Google, because Google can ban your website if you pay for links. So yeah, at this point, most of our backlinks come naturally because we have an existing audience and because we have a budget to promote our content. So whenever we publish a new article, we reach a pretty decent amount of people, and some of them have websites and some of them might later mention our article in their content, given that our article is somehow notable. Because if we create generic content, which you can find on any other similar website, then why would people link to our article over anything else? there's no reason. If the content is generic, if the content is the same, there's no reason. But when we create something unique, usually that would be a case study, experiment, data research study, or something along these lines, or come up with a new SEO idea, a new marketing concept, something unique, something that you won't find anywhere else. This has a high chance of acquiring backlinks. And the backlinks to the unique content that we have via internal links, they distribute that value to more generic content, because you cannot necessarily create something unique on every topic, because sometimes you just create more or less the same content as everyone else, and you want it to rank well in Google. So yeah, by getting backlinks to your awesome, notable, unique pieces of content, you help those generic pieces of content without backlinks also rank well in Google, because of kind of the total authority of your website or something like that.
Yeah, that's a very similar strategy to what we employ with a lot of our clients. Is we're creating some content that is specifically built to rank for certain keywords, and then we're creating some content that's also specifically built primarily to attract links, right? And that's like the kind of the goal. Do you all also do that in your content? Like, is there certain content that you create maybe without even a keyword in mind, just thinking like this is going to help us build links?
Not necessarily. So okay. we like, whenever we're looking at the keywords that we want to rank for, we often think what kind of unique value we can provide here. Can we do some unique experiment? Can we crunch our data and come up with interesting insights that would be notable, that people would quote and link to us? So we try to do this quick thought experiment with every topic that we write about. And then whenever we have ideas of interesting experiments or research that are not based on any keywords, so just out of the blue, you read something in someone else's article and you think to yourself, I don't necessarily agree with this thing, and I think I can prove it by doing this or that. So that would probably result in an amazing article which can generate links, but not necessarily rank for any keywords, because people won't search for whatever experiment you have. So yeah, and in that case, we kind of try to gauge, like there's no way to estimate it really, but we try to use our intuition, like, is this, would that be a linkable experiment? Would people link to the outcomes that we are going to share with them? So for example, right now, we recently did a data research study between the search volumes in Google Search Console and Google Keyword Planner. We started that for 60,000 keywords. And right at this moment, I'm writing a short kind of data research study for our blog, showing the insights that we've got by comparing the search volumes from Google Search Console, which people regard as the single source of truth of the actual search volume of keywords, and Google Keyword Planner, which a lot of people think is extremely accurate. So we decided to compare those two data sources that come directly from Google and show our takeaways. So my prediction is that it might generate some links and attention from people in our industry, but of course I cannot say exactly, okay, this article is going to bring us 100 links. I cannot say this. I just think that it has potential based on what we learned during this experiment. I think it is interesting. I think it is notable. I think people would want to talk about it and mention it in their articles, and therefore it has potential to get links. But it wouldn't bring us much search traffic, because people don't search for what's the difference between search volume in Google Search Console and Google Keyword Planner. I mean, maybe like 5 people per month would search for that, but I think even that would be probably overestimation.
Yeah, for sure. 1,000%. I could not agree with you more. I think, again, sort of a critical mistake that a lot of people make is, they try to sort of accomplish things with content that don't make sense, right? So they try to build links to a piece of content that's not really notable or link worthy in any way. Or on the other side, they try to come up with this one single piece of content that's going to rank for 1 million keywords and drive 1 million shares and generate 1,000 links and all of this stuff all at once. Whereas, when you try to do everything all at once, it's impossible, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. So just to go back to the original question here about, so where you guys are at now with Ahrefs, you're not really intentionally doing a lot of keyword or link building outreach just because you don't necessarily have to. How does that sort of compare to when you first started at Ahrefs? How much outreach were you guys doing, and how were you building your brand originally?
Yeah, so 6 years ago, when I just joined Ahrefs and we started building our content marketing operation, we didn't have an audience. We didn't have an email list. People weren't really following us on Twitter. We didn't have a huge Facebook group of existing customers like we have today. So whenever we published an article, we had to spread the word about it somehow, not even necessarily to build links to it, but just to make people notice it. Because if you write an article and publish it, how would people know it exists? So unless you hustle to show it to relevant people, your work on writing this article is basically wasted. So yeah, in the early days, I personally was reaching out to a lot of people whenever I had something interesting to say. I was looking for people who write about SEO, who do their own experiments. And whenever we published a notable piece of content, a notable research or experiment, or like some unique idea, or maybe even some enhancements in the product that we were releasing, I would personally write emails to people who have already big audience and credibility in the space, and I would run our content and our feature updates by them and get their feedback. This way, I was building my network, and essentially, many of these people which I was connecting with in the early days, some of them have become my friends. Some of them are following me on Twitter right now. Some of them are our customers. So right now, I don't necessarily need to reach out to them personally, because
Right.
in one way or another, the work that we do is likely to reach them,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't the case in the early days.
Right. Yeah. That makes total sense. So I guess if you were going back in time, or you were starting a new SaaS business from scratch, how would you I guess balance creating content versus doing outreach or link building, or some of these other activities?
That's a great question, and the only right answer is it depends. So it depends what kind of content you have. It depends on what kind of resources you have. Uh, it depends who are how wide is your niche, how many people are there to even reach out to. But one thing for sure, I would absolutely identify people in that new space where I'm creating a SaaS product, that already have audience, that already have credibility, that already get relevant search traffic to their websites for the topics that are relevant to what my software does. And I would just start connecting with them, and not necessarily connecting via asking for links or offering them my content, but just genuinely connecting. Because again, this was the case in the early days of me joining Ahrefs. Whenever I saw someone doing something interesting, publishing an interesting post on their blog, I would reach out to them, or like write a comment to them, or give them a shout out on Twitter and say that you did an awesome thing there, and maybe I have some feedback or questions about it to further clarify what they did, or like how this can be enhanced, or how I am going to use it or reference it in my content. So it's good when you can connect with people, and where you can genuinely tell them that you respect their work, and why you respect their work, why you think it is awesome. Yeah, you build your network, and then it helps you a lot whenever you publish something meaningful. Those people, you kind of get credibility points with them when you show them that you understand their work. Because when someone is creating something complex, a lot of people just don't bother looking into it and don't bother understanding it. So when someone reaches out to them and appreciates the complexity of the work they did, they automatically have respect for you, because this person understands what I did there, so they might be not that dumb, not to say smart. So then when this person reaches out to you again and says, so like I created my own experiment, you will automatically listen to them, because you understand that this person has some good understanding of your industry. Does it make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just building connections, engaging with other people in the industry, and sort of building your reputation, your credibility. I think that's huge.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the biggest mistake that you think people make with respect to link building?
I think we already discussed it. The biggest mistake they do is they think that link building is some kind of automated technical tactic
Yes.
where you just need to create a list of prospects,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not thinking that those prospects are human beings. So if you change the your vocabulary and say I need to create a list of humans, a list of people to reach out to and not prospects, your thinking process about link building automatically starts being different, because you're thinking, and if you add the word unique individuals, so not even people, because
Right.
people is kind of general term, but those are unique individuals. Each of them might have a family, might have problems, might have challenges, etc., etc. So it's not about using some uh, smart outreach template or some unique outreach software which would provide you crazy deliverability or something. It's not technical. It's about human relationships. You're reaching out to people like you. So if someone is reaching out to you to get a backlink, what would they need to do to get a backlink from you? So if you extrapolate what would make you to link to someone, to hundreds of people that you're reaching out to, you will understand how to properly do link building. A lot of people think it's just a mechanical kind of thing, while in reality, it's very personal. So if you want to get backlinks, it's very personal. Unless, of course, you're willing to offer everyone $200 for the backlink, then it is technical. Reach out to 10,000 people, offer each of them $200 for a backlink, and I can assure you that you'll get a ton of backlinks. But then a couple months later, don't be surprised if Google figures out that you have purchased some backlinks and your website gets penalized.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I don't think either of us are endorsing paying for backlinks.
Yeah, yeah.
That's no, that's a
As if it wasn't obvious.
right, exactly. No, that's a great takeaway, Tim. And another thing I just want to call attention to for folks is a thing that we're talking about before is having something notable, right? You mentioned reaching out to people whenever you wrote a notable article or a notable study or whatever it was, and I think that's also a missing component for a lot of folks. Is again, they try to run every piece through this generic link building process, and they treat every piece like it's earth shattering when it's just another piece of content that looks just like every other person who's covered that topic, and there's no reason for anyone to link to it, right?
Yeah, people tend to overestimate the quality and notability of their content by a large margin.
For sure. Yeah. I still remember, I think it was several years ago now, you wrote an article, Tim. I think it was called something like, I just deleted your outreach email and I don't feel bad, or something like
Yeah.
that. And it was just
And
like,
I don't feel sorry. Yeah.
yeah. That was a great piece, because it exactly echoed that sentiment of like, hey, look, it's easy to send an email. It's a lot harder to actually build a relationship with people and connect with them on a human level. That's super interesting. How about so we just have some questions from the audience here. Daniel's wondering about the course, the Ahrefs course. So just for folks who maybe aren't familiar, the course is called Blogging for Business. And Daniel's question specifically is, it was originally a paid course, and then at some point you guys began offering that for free. Can you talk a little bit about the thinking and the strategy behind that?
Yeah, that's an interesting case in itself, because when I was creating the course originally, given that I was creating it under the umbrella of Ahrefs, there were multiple ways to kind of distribute it. So
Mm-hmm.
we could offer it 100% free for everyone. We could offer it free only for paying customers. We could offer it as an upsell or like as a bonus, for example, for signing up for annual account, or we could charge for it separately. So I am sure those are not even the only options. If you think about it a little longer, you might come up with more ways to kind of profit or distribute this course. So it depends on your objectives, like what you want to do. Do you want to make more money? Do you want to establish your authority? Do you want to reach more people? So depending on your goals, you might choose a different course of action. So in my case, I knew that I wanted to genuinely help a lot of people. So I had some revelations about how content marketing works, and I was excited to share it. And in some way, I was also excited to kind of feed my ego by having people thank me for kind of helping them to figure it out. So I wanted to get that validation that this stuff that I realized it worked for someone else. So this is why I wanted as many people to see the course as possible. And what we did initially, again, I understood that if I just offer the course for free, no one would ever watch it, because there's just too much free content, and people don't value the stuff they get for free. If you don't charge for it, it automatically is generic. It has no value unless you charge for it, because if you charge for it, then people start thinking, this person is offering something unique, which they don't offer to the public because it has value. So what we did is we did a hybrid thing. We announced that the course would be paid. It would cost $799, but we would offer it for free for a limited time of 2 weeks during the launch. So we launched the course this way. We announced that it's going to be a paid course, but you have 2 weeks to watch it for free. Well, obviously, some people downloaded all the videos and then shared them on torrent websites, which was okay because there are more eyeballs on the course. But still, we had, I think, over 10,000 people sign up for the launch of the course, and many of them watched it till the end. I think the completion rate was over 20% for an essentially free course. I know I have a few friends who create paid courses, and they say that completion rate of 20%, even for the paid course, where the person has invested their money, so they are kind of interested to finish the course and have the ROI on their investment. But for a free course, completion rate over 20% is quite good. So then we had to follow up on our promise, and we gated the course with a price of $800. And it stayed like this for maybe a year or something. And people were still buying it, even though we never tried to upsell the course to Ahrefs customers or anything. So there was no automated email that you would get like a few weeks after signing up for Ahrefs that we have a course for $799 and you can get it. We never tried to sell it to announce some discounts. So for a limited amount of time, you can get this course with 50% discount, limited time offer, grab this. I'm sure this would work, but we didn't really do this. And still, a few people every week were buying the course for the full price. And I saw that on multiple Slack channels, on Reddit, people were still recommending the course, and they were saying that was their best investment in terms of content marketing, which was extremely pleasing to me. And then the pandemic hit, and we saw a trend of many companies offering people their educational resources for free, given that a lot of people have lost jobs during the pandemic, or many people had some extra time on their hands to study something new or to advance in their skills. So we thought it was a perfect opportunity for us to also open our course for free. So we announced that we're making our $800 course for free on Twitter. I think that tweet went kind of viral within the marketing community. We generated like tons of likes and retweets. And I think about like 50,000 people started the course. Wow. I'm not sure what was the completion rate, because we moved the course from Wistia to YouTube, and then we launched it on our website. So to collect the real numbers, I would have to track it down in multiple video hosting services. But I think it's more than 50,000 people started the course, which is a lot. So yeah, essentially a course is also a sales page for Ahrefs, or a lead
Yeah.
magnet for Ahrefs, whatever you want to call it, because we never intended to make money off of it. We just wanted to make sure that people think that the course has value, and only for that reason it has a price tag on it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I hadn't realized that you did that initial launch of the free course. I knew that it was $800. So when it was was later offered for free, I think everyone was like, "Oh, that's an $800 course for free. That's amazing."
Yeah.
So I think in that sense that psychology worked well.
I'm actually planning to create a pretty substantial update to the course, because right now it is 3 or 4 years old. Since then, I've gained quite a bit of new experience, and I changed my mind on some of the concepts that I'm sharing in the course. So most likely within the next year or two, we're going to do pretty much the same. We're going to
Okay.
update the course, launch it for a limited period for free, and then close it again with some price tag.
That's really cool. Well, it'll be interesting to check that out, the new updated version. Do you
Cool.
have any numbers or metrics about how effective that course has been for driving signups or users to Ahrefs?
I have no idea. It's hard to tell, but one isolated example is, at this moment, we're doing a bit of customer research. This is when you reach out to new customers that sign up, and you offer them like a private onboarding call or an interview to be able to better understand like what are their expectations when they sign up for your software, what do they want to achieve, what they struggle with, and you find you're looking for some issues within your software and within your marketing to fix. So like a couple people in the company do this, and I sent a bunch of emails to newly signed up trial customers, and one lady responded saying that she watched my entire blogging for business course, and it was better than Netflix and everything, and she is super excited to jump on a call with me. So yeah, I don't have like the exact numbers of how that course contributed to the uh, annual recurring revenue of Ahrefs as a company, but I know for sure that like we've got many good things out of it because of those individual uh, kind of cases of people telling me how much they enjoyed the course and how it made them appreciate the work we do at Ahrefs, and love us as a brand and trust us as a tool vendor.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I mean, just being able to hear that from someone directly, I think is just as powerful as numbers sometimes. So that's really
Yeah,
cool.
and like it's one thing when it's an individual feedback, but when it happens over time, like almost every few weeks, you would hear from someone either on Twitter or on Facebook or on Reddit. You understand that you did the right thing, regardless of what the actual business numbers are, and those actual business numbers are incredibly hard to track because that course might have contributed to the success of Ahrefs in many different ways, and not every single one of them can be measured with a number.
For sure, for sure. That's actually a perfect segue because I want to talk a little bit about measuring content marketing and ROI. And so one thing that folks on our stream may not be aware of that I recently learned is that Ahrefs doesn't use sort of traditional analytics, and you really aren't trying to track and measure ROI in the way that probably a lot of content marketers are. And so I want to dig into that in a moment here, but first I want to talk to you as the CMO, Tim. Like, what do you think? Like, what are your goals for content marketing at Ahrefs, and how do you think about that with the sort of the absence of those analytics?
The goals are to help people who have problems which our software can solve. So again, this closes the loop of our conversation, where we go back to the fact that people have all sorts of problems related to digital marketing and SEO, and they go to Google to look for solutions. So we want to be there for them. We want to show them how to solve their problems. We want to educate them on whatever marketing related topic they're interested in. And we know that in the process of doing it, we'll have plenty of opportunity to showcase the value of our tools, which would contribute to the business success of Ahrefs. So the goal that I have as the person in charge of marketing of Ahrefs, our goal with content marketing is to reach as many people with questions as we can, and help those people achieve their goals, because we know if we do this, they will become our customers, because our software is so useful with so many different marketing problems.
That's a really powerful way to think about that, because I think that really should be everyone's goal, right? Like, numbers aside, if you're a content marketer, like your goal should be get in front of the right people, help them solve their problems, and introduce them to the product, right? Regardless of how that shakes out in terms of the analytics. That's super awesome. So, do you think, like, let's just say that this is like kind of a ridiculous premise, but let's say tomorrow you guys installed Google Analytics and you were tracking metrics in maybe the way that most marketers are, and you found out hey, only 0.1% of people are reading our blogs and then converting. Do you think that would change your strategy or your approach?
I'm pretty sure that would be exactly what would happen. I don't think I ever seen any credible example of like a study where some company would publish, this is our blog, here's like the screenshots of our Google Analytics, here's how our blog is converting, here's how much money we're spending to run our blog, here is the ROI, here is a return of investment.
Right.
If that would actually work, we would see like plenty of case studies of how like creating a blog has contributed to, but we don't like, can you name any? I cannot, because like it's not that easy to do, because if you try to tie the traffic of your blog to the site, okay, you might be able to try to tie it to the signups, especially if your sign up is a free product. So if people can register for a freemium, yeah, you can do this. But in many cases, when a company has a huge content marketing machine, it would usually give those leads to sales team. So the job of marketing ends where the job of sales start. And it's the responsibility of both teams, marketing and sales, to provide ROI, to convert those people into customers.
Right.
If you remove the sales team, who is responsible for conversion, and you put the responsibility on the marketing team to actually drive the sales, not leads or signups, but the sales, the tracking gets a lot more sophisticated. Because it's one thing when someone downloads your PDF and you send this lead to sales team and say, do something with this, and they track numbers and they say and they tell you, okay, leads from this source are better, leads from this source are worse. It's one thing. But when you're doing plenty of activities and there's no sales team to actually follow up with each of them and properly grade them, you leave people on their own. So will they return to your blog? Will they try your software? And once they tried your software, did they understand everything that happens there? It gets insanely hard to track how marketing contributed to the success of it. So I'm pretty sure that if we would install Google Analytics and we would try to track signups from our blog, the numbers won't be exciting, so to say. But it wouldn't stop us from doing what we're doing, because we know that Ahrefs has been growing without the sales team pretty much since Ahrefs was first launched.
Yeah.
And we know that since we were growing for about like 60% to 50% year over year, how else are we growing if not via word of mouth and content marketing? We don't do anything but create a better product and create better content. We don't do anything but those two things. And I'm pretty sure if we take away amazing content, our signups and our company growth will go down, because we will only be left with the product. We have great product which we are improving, and we have great content that drives traffic and attention to our website. How can this not work? I don't understand how can this not work, as long as you do it right.
Yeah, well, I think you all have proven the case that it does work. Obviously, as you've had so much success with it, but I think that's a great larger point for folks because in our work, we run all kinds of reports and looking into Google Analytics and assisted conversions and all these different things, trying to capture and quantify the value of the work that we're doing, right? And I would say in some cases it is very valuable, but there is a lot of as you mentioned, there's a lot of unmeasurable impact that's happening, right? And the word of mouth and the downstream impact on the rest of your site's SEO that comes from the content and all this other stuff that's happening from the work that you're doing that you can't always quantify. And so at some point, you just have to say, hey, we're doing this and the business is doing this, so it seems that things are working.
It seems that those things are correlated. Yeah, we're creating great content and the business is growing, so maybe those things are connected somehow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So one other question related to like measurement and metrics is how do you think about like optimization or kind of going back into content that you've already created in sort of the absence of kind of traditional metrics? How do you go about that process?
Common sense. So there are kind of two areas where you want to optimize your content. The first area is to optimize your content to rank better in Google, and you do it by iteration, basically. So you publish, like, it's very hard if you have a keyword that you want to target. For example, this keyword is how to do an SEO audit of your website. If you want to answer this question, it's very hard to write an article about doing an SEO audit of your website and make it relevant to I don't know, dental kits. No, like if you're writing about how to do SEO audit, you will automatically use all the right words for Google to understand that your article is about SEO audit. So what's more important is to make sure that your article has actual value and it answers the searcher intent. So when people would search for how do I do the site audit, SEO site audit, and they land on your article, it would have all the answers that they were expecting. And if your article doesn't rank, there's a good chance that it doesn't have those answers. So what you can do is look at the articles that are already ranking well, see what are they doing and what are the things they're talking about that your article doesn't. Rewrite your article, improve it, talk to more people, talk to customers, improve your content, republish it, repromote it, and wait to see where it ends up in Google search results. If it doesn't work, do it again. So for example, I have a guide about keyword research. We updated it 5 times already, and it just goes on and off from Google search results for the keyword research, and we cannot get it to rank in top 3. But at the same time, we have an article with free tools for keyword research, and somehow Google puts it in top 5 for the keyword research because people like it. So people search for keyword research, they see an article like 12 free tools for keyword research, they click it, they're happy.
Yeah.
And my complicated guide with some like actual advice and interesting tips on how to make the most of your keyword research, they don't want to read it because it's long and bulky. So this is how you optimize article for search. You iterate, you try to figure out what people want, you look at the Google search results, you try to understand what you're doing wrong. That's basically how you do it. And the second part of optimization is, of course, making sure that you promote your product within your article. And this is, again, this is a simple kind of thought experiment. Just read your article a month after publishing and think if you can put more use cases of your software in the context of what you're writing about, or your product or your service, whatever you have. Because what you didn't think of while writing the article might come into your mind when rereading it, and you might understand, oh, like my product does this and they haven't mentioned it in this article, while it is perfectly contextual. So 2 ways to optimize the article. First, make sure it is what people want to find when they search for it, and second, make sure that it kind of sells or promotes your products or services.
No, that's great. Awesome way to think about it. Well, Tim, we're just about the top of our hour, so I just want to make sure I take the time to just say thank you again so much for joining us. It's been an amazing discussion here. Thank you to everyone who joined our stream as well. I'm sorry there were some questions in the chat we didn't get a chance to address, but I want to just say again, thanks, Tim, for joining us. And where should people find you if they have questions or want to reach out?
Thanks a lot for inviting me, Tyler, and thanks for asking amazing questions. I hope my answers made sense to people watching this. And if someone wants to follow more of my ramblings and sometimes controversial takes on conventional marketing strategies, the best place is Twitter @Team Soulo. Just follow me there and let's chat.
Awesome. That's so great. No, Tim, it was wonderful, man. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks again for your time.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers.